TimeSplitters series is without a doubt, I think, one of the best to come out of the 6th generation of consoles. Developed by Free Radical Design, a company made up of guys who formerly worked on such titles as GoldenEye 64 and Perfect Dark. The second game is one of my favourite PlayStation 2 titles of all time, and I can remember spending countless hours in the map maker and completing the arcade league to unlock all of the extra stuff the game had on offer, of which it had shitloads. The third game in the series, Future Perfect, was released in 2005, and with the release of the PlayStation 3 not far off at this point, this was the time for that generation where we started to see games that really pushed the capabilities and limits of what these consoles could pull off. Now, before we get started, let's address the emulated elephant in the room. Yes, I'm running this on a Dolphin emulator with a mouse and keyboard. Part of the reason I held off on reviewing this game for so long, despite having almost weekly requests to do so, was that I found it kinda hard to go back to something like the PlayStation 2 and put up with a frankly dated controller and presentation. Getting the game running in Dolphin was probably the best thing I could have done. Not only does the game run at a smooth frame rate and control perfectly with the mouse and keyboard, but it also let me capture footage at a resolution that doesn't look like it was recorded off a mid-2000s Nokia mobile phone. And if you don't know what a Nokia phone is, well, ask your older brother.
You shoot worse than they do.
I think when you're able to play an older game like this with little more than an increased resolution and the game still looks good, like it's really a testament to the art style of the game, and it shows that creativity is something that never ages. If you can look past the blurry textures and simplistic environments at times, it's still a great looking game. And if you can look past the fact that I'm not playing this with an RCA cord and a dusty GameCube controller, well then let's take a look at the final game in the TimeSplitters series. Finally.
Yeah! Time to split!
I'll get the next one.
Now, TimeSplitters Future Perfect is a game that can be broken down mainly into the story mode, the arcade mode, and the challenges. Compared to TimeSplitters 2, where the story mode was kind of disjointed, jumping from time period to time period, and character to character kind of haphazardly, the campaign in Future Perfect is just that, a campaign. There is an ongoing story here that is set across multiple time periods. It's not just about searching each level for the time crystal before heading back to the escape portal. There's a series of main and supporting characters, and there's a main antagonist.
I know you used the time device to travel back to 1994 and tell your younger self to carry on your twisted genetic experiments using the power of the time crystals.
Really?
Following on pretty much right from the end of TimeSplitters 2, Sergeant Cortez, who folks are going to remember from the previous game, returns to Earth and uses the time crystals to go through time yet again with the intention to stop the creation of the TimeSplitters race. Along the way, he runs into someone else who also has the ability to time travel. His name is Crow, and he's also moving through various time periods, messing things up like a total prick.
Whoa! Anya, did you see that?
This is actually the jackass who inadvertently created the TimeSplitters race, and then it becomes a game of cat and mouse, as Cortez jumps from location to location trying to stop Crow's plans, while still discovering them as they unfold, encountering characters from the previous games along the way.
Thanks. No problem, man.
Like Captain Ash, Angel Perez, and Harry Tripper, who might be the funniest character in the entire game. His entire motivation is just to rescue his girlfriend Kitty Celeste from the returning villain Kalos, just to get laid, which he does. There's plenty of cinematics too, where Cortez interacts with the characters he comes across, and pretty much all of these are just really fun to watch, because every character you meet has a unique personality and is animated and voice acted really well.
Don't worry, old boy, we've a while yet.
Harry Tripper is a bit of a standout for sure, but even someone more serious like Amy Chen, though she comes off as a bit more sullen, still has a personality that bounces off Cortez with some humorous results.
Yeah.
That's good.
Almost every single chapter there's a point where Cortez is assisted by his future self, or is that his past self? And then of course soon after you'll have to replay that segment from the other perspective to prevent a time paradox. Gotta say though, the whole time travel thing is pretty loose and it's got more holes in it than you can poke a stick at. And I'm sure if you broke the whole thing down, it wouldn't make a lick of sense. But it's like that scene in Austin Powers where they say you're better off not trying to think about it too much and just enjoy yourself.
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing and just enjoy yourself. That goes for you all, too. Yes.
Future Perfect was developed during that glorious time before political correctness swarmed gaming and popular culture. Jo Beth Casey, a side character who returns from TimeSplitters 2, for some reason has the word slut across a t-shirt, and she wears a short schoolgirl skirt as well. And at one point, Cortez agrees to go before her down a ladder at the mere thought of being able to see up there.
You go first.
Okay.
but it's all harmless and silly comedy that just helps to keep the game feeling lighthearted, and it's part of the charm of the whole thing. It's really not holding back, and it even takes a few swings and homages at other video games too. For instance, the chapter set in 2052, where Cortez is breaking into some kind of high-tech lab, feels like a pretty direct homage to Perfect Dark with some very similar looking environments. And at one point you even use a cleaning robot to enter a locked area. Joanna Dark did the exact same thing in the second mission of Perfect Dark. There's a mansion full of zombies with a secret lab beneath it that's an obvious reference to Resident Evil. And then inside of that they managed to throw in an Indiana Jones Temple of Doom and a Jurassic Park reference as well. NPCs use numerous quotes from the film Aliens, and then in the level set in the future, you'll take on robots built by the Ultranet Corporation. Yeah, Ultranet, nothing like Skynet, is it? And these moments are when the campaign is at its best because it just never takes itself too seriously. Now compared to the last game where the difficulty mode would add more objectives, similar to how it worked in GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, here all increasing the difficulty does means you take more damage from enemies. Beating chapters on easy or normal is all that's needed to unlock content, and about all you get from finishing the whole thing on hard is a single character. But anyone who's played the TimeSplitters games is going to tell you that the campaign is only a small part of the whole package, and that's not an untrue statement. Outside of the story mode, which has I think 13 levels it'll take maybe 6 or 7 hours to get through, you've got the Arcade League and the challenges as well. With both being another way that you can unlock the abundance of weapons, game modifiers and characters. And I gotta say, some of the unlockable characters are really creative and well designed. Like The Shoal, Hans, Mr. Socky and Christine Malone. You know, there's something about this one that I really like, but I just can't put my finger on it. Anyway, the Arcade League is the same as what's on offer in the arcade mode, but instead it's set across preset maps and given very specific requirements. Often so specific that they're likely to make you want to pull your hair out and smash something in frustration. Just like TimeSplitters 2, these are broken up between Amateur, Honorary and Elite, with 9 levels per league of varying difficulty. Then they're broken down into the basic game modes like Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Point Capture and so on.
That's gotta hurt!
Most of the game modes are just derivative of Deathmatch though, like Shrink for instance is just Deathmatch, but players are going to shrink a certain amount dependent on their score. Elimination is also Deathmatch just with a set amount of lives. And Monkey Assistant is Deathmatch yet again, but the player with the lowest score is helped periodically by monkeys that spawn in. Because Free Radical have some kind of weird obsession with monkeys. And big boobs. Modes like Virus are where it starts to get more interesting. Virus is where someone runs around on fire, tagging other people to spread it until there's no one left. Bag Tag is where you grab a briefcase and run around for as long as possible, trying to avoid getting killed. And then Assault is an objective-based mode where you have to complete a series of map requirements, as the other team blasts you to shit. Like imagine you're trying to run a half marathon and the whole time you're doing it, people are throwing tomatoes at your head. This is what this mode feels like. And just like before, for each of these you get a medal, either bronze, silver or gold, or platinum if you're really good. My issue with this is that while some of these levels can be completed and gold medals can be earned by just being good at the game, some of them pretty much require exploits or very specific methods to finish. This was a similar issue with TimeSplitters 2, and it made the Elite League a bit of a chore to get through. Like one of the zone maps, you have to know the path the AI takes when capturing zones and run there in a very specific way, from the beginning to bottleneck them through a doorway, or else the level is just pretty much unbeatable.
Lobotomy!
A lot of them too, particularly the deathmatch and the elimination maps, work off time limits as well as a score. And it often boils down to RNG, hoping you get decent spawns on the larger maps, so you spend more time killing things than running around trying to actually find something to kill. And then some of them just seem unfair, like you'd expect these to be challenging and all that, but some of these are just so incredibly frustrating and obnoxious. Like the ones where you need to get kills with the flare gun, single firing weapons that take a dog's age to reload and have a completely randomized trajectory when fired. It just sucks. Or like an elimination match for instance, where your only weapon is this thing that looks like a dustbuster that fires out a charged up concussion shot. And spawn locations are quite literally on opposite sides of the map. I would honestly rather stick foreign objects up my ass than play them. This I can kinda live with though, the challenges are what just really brings my shit to a boil. The challenges are like someone at Free Radical was just having a really bad day and felt like dicking around with the players, and they really do feel like they've just been designed to be as irritating as possible. Remember how fun it was smashing windows in TimeSplitters 2? Well, yeah, it's back again. Goody. Or how about the return of shooting off zombies' heads with a double-barreled shotgun, because that's always been a barrel of laughs, hasn't it? No pun intended. At least it's not as bad as the Flaming Zombies challenge from TimeSplitters 2. I mean, I still have nightmares over trying to get platinum in that. There's one where you're driving a robot cat that controls like a shopping cart around a racetrack to try to get the fastest possible time. And for the last part of this challenge, you have to race it around a frozen lake, where it drifts more than a 17-year-old with a crappy second-hand Nissan Skyline. But the worst of all is this challenge inside a tiny kitchen where cow carcasses with legs come chasing after you. And you have to hit them not once, not twice, but thrice with a dart gun to kill them. This is one of the worst things ever designed by another human being, and I genuinely hope whoever made this lives the rest of their life just infected by swarms of bad luck. Like, I hope for the rest of their life they stub their toe on things, they lose their car keys, they drop loose change down the side of their car seat, that kind of stuff. At least the trophies for these are a lot more forgiving though, like compared to the other games where you often had to get at least gold to unlock everything, here all you need to do is at least get bronze, and you can get that by pretty much fumbling your way through the matches. A few things require silver, and obviously there's a reward for finishing everything on gold, but the basic requirements match to match is a lot more forgiving. All up, there's 27 matches to complete in the arcade league compared to the 45 in TimeSplitters too. And then there's another 21 challenges. Getting platinum on all of these if you're the completionist type is not going to be easy. And if you were the type of kid who managed to pull this off, well, shit, my hat's off to you. Now, comparing this one to the last game and picking a favourite is kinda hard. Truth be told, I didn't actually play this one back when it first came out, which is odd, I know, because I spent a lot of time with the first two games. For some reason though, I just kinda missed this one.
Good shot, old man.
I've gotta say though, I still think Future Perfect holds up pretty damn well. Obviously more so in an emulator with a mouse and keyboard. I bought the GameCube version of the game off eBay for around $80, which is pretty damn high considering how old the game is, but kinda justified considering the quality and the following the game has. I don't know why they haven't gotten to work trying to remaster this whole series for the current generation of consoles. I mean, I think the people who did that will be able to print money. Overall, I think its character and charm still shines through even in our current year. And I think regardless of the way you choose to play this thing, it's still a damn good time.
I gotta go.
But... oh well. Too old for me anyway.